how does AI impact business and travel? I think that will be an interesting topic to touch on. So maybe I can go to Zach first. Are you seeing AI changing how young people work and what kind of tools they may be using? What are you observing now?
I don't like to be one of these AI maximalists who says it's changing everything and it's going to change everything, but it's changing everything and it's going to change everything. And I think that will just deepen. So there's how people work, there's how people travel. Let's focus first on how people travel. There were a lot of things that search could not do in terms of planning the entire trip. So if you were doing one destination, one location, one hotel, sure. There are wonderful OTAs and search engines who could help you plan the basic logistics of that. But particularly if you're doing multi-destination, multiple hubs, you also have to mix in work with your travel because you're a leisure warrior. You want to be making sure to enjoy wherever you're going. The intricacies of just the logistical element of that. I can give you a really easy example. There's a couple of influencers who have gotten really popular for they will be saving the cafes, the restaurants in a place like Tokyo, right? Tokyo is very complex. Tokyo is the definition of I need to know a guy city. Like you really do feel like having the insiders look into Tokyo will give you a better perspective. The way that people get insiders is through social media. But the problem is Tokyo is also big. And so you could have a million different restaurants saved, but they could be in totally different parts of the city. What we've seen people do is they'll aggregate all of their saves from either TikTok or Instagram or whatever, upload them to their AI of choice, and have that AI create an itinerary of them based on practicality of what's where, what they could realistically book, so that they can economize their time. Now, I've worked a lot with travel advisors, and truthfully, everyone thought originally that OTAs were going to wipe out the travel agent. Yeah. In fact, it sort of did because travel agents have become travel advisors, right? They're prized for their expertise. AI is the next big challenge for travel advisors because you now have someone who not only can search individual parts of your trip, which was the first real challenge to travel agents, but now can synthesize a trip, string it together for a journey. And they could also get to know you. I give you one final example here. Sure. My wife is pregnant. We're very excited. The very first thing to realize my wife was pregnant was my social media algorithm. Suddenly, overnight, every single piece of content that gets pushed to me is all about becoming a dad. And all about taking care of my wife. And because I like to travel, also being like a cool travel parent and like travel hacks for going this way and that way. And the speed and the intimacy that these algorithms can know you now. And I don't want to take anything away from humans because there are definitely areas where AI does not cut it yet. But the way that it could quickly tailor to who I am now, who I'm going to be, and then we're doing multi-generational travel coming up. Like I have a 75-year-old father who has these perspectives about traveling the Asia Pacific. That really is the work of a travel expert. So now AI can help you play that role. I think it democratizes access to expertise. There will be cascading challenges to a variety of different industries on the back of that. But I really do think, and again, I try not to be extreme in my views here, but I think in the travel industry, we will talk about the era before AI. We did the same with OTAs. So the era before OTAs and the era after. I think we will be talking about the era before AI and the era afterwards.
Absolutely. I think AI definitely touched on personalization.
Yeah.
Right. It's very context sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
We'll know how to plan it for you, right? Mm-hmm. For your particular algorithm. I know Trip.com is also doing something there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe Edison can touch on that a bit. How are you guys personalizing travel in the new world of AI?
Okay. I just want to put it two sectors. One is from a business perspective. Sure. One is from my personal experience.
Okay.
So for business angle, that definitely AI as a tool really help a lot in terms of efficiency and also personalization. So we can really provide a more accurate advice and help the efficiency in terms of improving the itinerary planning for each individual passengers. So we have already launched the function like trip planners. So once you talking to the trip planners based on some of the basic requirement, what's your key interest, how many days you want to spend. The platforms will give you a recommended itinerary. Of course, you can do a further dialogue and communication with trip planner. They will still fine tune the itinerary according to your personal interest. I think that is beautiful. That's wonderful. I mean, it's really save a lot of times as an individual travelers when you do the itinerary planning. And of course, very customized and very personalized. And of course, all the experience and content will be also keep changing, improving according to what happens in the market right now. And of course, it's also helped us a lot in terms of improving the customer service. We incorporate a lot of AI technology into the customer service sectors, especially to dealing with those very basic customer service requirements. It means that our real customer service can spend more time to dealing with more complicated issues. And rather than just dealing with the post-sales customer service, they can spend efforts to give more advice for the travelers for their pre-trip planning. So I mean, like in terms of the efficiency, we love AI. This from a business perspective, but for the personal perspective, I also using AI tools. But for me, is that I want to use AI to solve certain issue I have totally no ideas. If talking about travel, if I plan to go to Kenya, I have no knowledge about Kenya at all. So at this point of time, I will use AI to help me to plan, give rough idea about what I can do, how should I plan itinerary, but I just want to have a rough idea. I don't want to go into too much detail because I am still a person believe planning a trip, doing a research is also part of travel. I enjoying that. I don't want end of the day the machine and a software or system give everything, and I just plan my trip according to everything that provided by a system or a machine. I still enjoy a personal research and personal kind of comparison by using different tools, different social media, different platform, different content, and come out itinerary which really I feel wonderful and also enjoying the whole process. And some more that AI will never replace the personal feelings. You cannot use AI to experience your holiday or vacation. You need to be there. And I agree with that, like saying there's hundreds of thousands of restaurants. AI probably can help you to filter out what kind of restaurant probably you may interested. But you know that even for a just simple coffee flat white, you love this shop, but you don't like this shop because the different flavors. So I mean, like AI really can improve efficiency and solve a lot of basic requirement. But from personal perspective, I still be more than happy to involve in the whole planning and whole process. I think this is also part of the experience. Yeah.
I do wonder how it's going to change the joy of that. So I'm a millennial, 1990, and early backpacking days. I remember we would be first planning beforehand. I'd be on like the thorn tree forums. This is sort of before, like around Reddit, but just the forums, looking through like these hardcore backpackers. Everyone would be posting their routes. They would be, like the community that rose around travel before was really organic and really enjoyable. Like so much of what, when we talk about youth a little bit later, we talk about the how travel reflects who we are and the identity that goes along with that. By the way, I don't think that's generationally bound. But that was, the planning and the communities and the forums around that. I wonder how much these AI tools might keep the next generation away from having that to the degree that I think it was just a really big part of my formative travel years.
Yeah. I mean, like it's what Trip.com doing. Like we spend huge efforts. We spend a lot of efforts into AI sectors to improve the technology and innovations. As I mentioned, that the overall concept is to improve the efficiency, and create a convenience for travelers when dealing with the itinerary planning, customer service, the content engagement. So the AI is a tools, a ways to help to assist to fasten your speed in terms of solving the problems to get something that you want. But it will never replace the self feelings and motivations and emotion get in touch with the real world.
Yeah, and we're seeing exactly the same thing from more from a business perspective, world of work, I suppose. But I think it's got a definite analogy with the world of travel as well, where we're seeing AI is transforming the world of work. It just is, like, hands down. It is just changing everything. It's just through technology, primarily through AI, the future of work is right in the midst of changing. We're seeing it being adopted. 80% of professionals globally saying they're using it in work every single day.
Wow.
As professionals every single day. We're seeing hiring managers around the world requiring it as a mandatory skill at work, AI literacy. And you don't need to be, incredibly technical, but you have to be AI literate, like you had to be digital literate, many years ago in those regards as well. We're seeing it be successful. Companies that are adopting it, a recent survey that we released showed that 50% of customers and companies that are adopting AI in their workplace are seeing a 10% increase in revenue. We're seeing C-suites around the world, CEOs, CFOs saying the number one outcome of this year is how to more effectively adopt AI within their workplace. So it is changing the world of work. It's changing every day. It is effective. People are using it, and it's going to continue to see these changes as well. What it isn't changing is when we look at skills that are required to do roles around the world. And certainly we're seeing advances and requirements of AI. We're seeing AI being added to LinkedIn profiles at about 142x other skills. We're seeing job posts having skills increased by about 6 times across the world as well. So an explosion. But when you look at the most in-demand skills, they still are those human-centric skills. So problem solving, communication,
Creative.
collaboration, creativity, and the number one over the last 6 months was agility. So your ability to be resilient and change and embrace change. So AI technology is incredibly important, but alongside those human-centric skills. And I think to the point that you were talking about before as well, AI is making information much more of a commodity. Clearly, search, online, digital makes information a commodity. AI is making that even more a commodity. It's at your fingertips. It's disseminated. It's there, whether it's an itinerary for a trip, whether it's information on the latest pricing strategies for airlines, whatever it might be, that information is there. What is now becoming even more important is a source of trusted information. It's not to say that it's not trusted, but where do you get that insider knowledge about the destinations that you might be traveling to?
Yeah.
Where do you get the opinions on how AI is changing the world of work from trusted sources, potentially like platforms like LinkedIn, and hearing from people about their opinions and insights and intuition on these things as well. So very much it is commoditizing information, but it's also increasing the value of human skills, interaction, and information intuition as well. So really important to see that those two sort of aspects happening at the same time.
AI native coming in the future, right? We're not all cell phone natives nowadays, but very soon it will be AI native.
It's an absolute mandatory for organizations and individuals. You just have to do it.
But to your point, we've been interviewing a lot of people, and we very specifically look for, we even our interviewing process, when they're preparing a case study or something like that, we'll ask them how they used AI in the process. There was one particular candidate. The way that they were harnessing and driving AI was absolutely incredible. They were terrible to speak with. Their interpersonal skills were it was like we could tell that actually working with them would be awful. So they might have been the best AI driver. And I think of it, someone who could drive these different tools, right? They're sort of, the analogy I sometimes use is like Iron Man. Like, you become like a superhero, but there's still a person driving it. But the person driving it was the issue. So I think the interpersonal side, the human experience, it's not going away. But it's interesting to see that with your view, you've seen how much that's been emphasized around the world.
Very much.
Heartening to see that.
I mean, those they're often described as soft skills, which I think is a really bad term for them. You know, problem solving, communication, collaboration, creativity. They are the core. They have been for a long time, but they're actually now we're seeing it on our platform as well as most in-demand skills, central to success. But alongside technology, alongside AI, how you use those as well. So, they've always been important. But we're just seeing how they're being emphasized as being almost more important now than ever before.
Great.